Dr. Jackson, I had a patient ask a really interesting question recently. They wanted to know what exactly caused their injuries. I mean, they know it was a car accident, but they were curious about the specifics, like how the impact led to the particular injuries they have. How do you handle that type of question?
Well, that's a great question, and it's one I get often. I usually start by explaining that while we know the accident itself is the root cause, it's important to dig deeper into how the injuries happened during the crash.
Mhm.
For instance, if they have had a brain injury, we'd consider whether it was from their head hitting the steering wheel, the headrest, or even just from the force of the brain moving inside the skull during the impact.
That's so important. People don't realize there's so many different ways you can sustain that injury. But yeah, so right, because understanding that can really help them grasp the severity of their injuries when they know the origin.
Exactly. It also helps them understand why they're experiencing certain symptoms. For example, if they have neck pain, I might explain that it is likely from whiplash caused by the sudden movement of their head back and forth during the collision. I also make it clear that while we might not have a definitive answer, we can provide an expert opinion based on the type of injuries and the nature of the accident.
Right. And I guess after having done this for so many years, 20 plus years, you can have a pretty good idea of how to go through this process. So, how do you connect this to their personal injury case? So, you can find out maybe the origin, but do you find that understanding the cause helps them in that regard?
Definitely. I explained that having a clear understanding of how the injuries were sustained can be valuable for their case.
Mhm.
If it adds weight to their claim when they can show how the accident directly led to their injuries, it's an important part of building a strong narrative for
Mhm.
their legal team. I also remind them that while we can't always be 100% certain, our professional assessment can be very influential.
Right. Okay. And that's it, a professional assessment and not just what you think might be happening. So it's based off your education and experience. So, what if they're feeling frustrated about not having a concrete answer?
Well, I validate those feelings by acknowledging that it is natural to want clear cut answers.
Right.
But I also reassure them that even without absolute certainty, our expert opinion is still very strong evidence. I focus on what we do and how we're using that information to help them recover and support their case.
Okay. So that's helpful. It's about balancing their need for information with the realities of what we can determine.
Exactly. So it's all about providing as much clarity as we can and showing them that we're on their side, working to understand and address their injuries as thoroughly as possible.
Yes.
This helps them to feel more in control of their situation, both health wise and legally.
Okay. That's very good to know. So, after an accident, this is good information.